Decentralized Pictures Talent Cast. I am your host, Matt, and in studio today we have Stephen Murray and Jonathan Keltz from Bingeable. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for
Nice
having
to
us.
see you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been looking forward to this interview with the Bingeable boys for some time now. So great to have you here. So I like to think that Bingeable and both of you are OGs in the Film 3 space. But for those that are new to Bingeable, tell us what it's all about.
Well, Bingeable is something that I've been thinking about and working on for a long time. But at its heart, what it is it's a platform that's designed to shift the balance of power between the creators and their communities and the pipes that deliver their work. The entertainment industry values the ability to market and distribute more than the ability to create. And the heart of Bingeable is to flip that on its head and say, no, what really matters are the creators and the communities that support them. And we've built this platform to harness that energy, that enthusiasm, that marketing power of a fan base on behalf of creators and talent. And by doing that, we basically eliminate the middlemen who've been taking 95 cents every dollar from every single view of a piece of content for about 125 years.
So Jonathan, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, so I joined. I've been working as an actor and as a producer now for the last couple of decades, and I'm coming to this as a filmmaker who saw this as the answer to not just specifically films that I've made, but to other films and that I've known of. And I think that this is something, especially in this moment, that could be such a huge tectonic shift. We've got a strike that's happening that's potentially about to, exponentially increase the amount of unions that are involved in it. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I think people are looking for, especially on the independent film side and obviously also on the television and just across the entire film entertainment spectrum. And, I think that this is the answer to really empower creators to connect with their community, participate in the process of, revenue share from dollar one. And I think that that's something that's going to just transform how we're able to make independent cinema profitable.
And I'm going to add one more thing. I think it's really important to understand that Bingeable as a platform is designed to actually mitigate risk for financiers, because if we don't solve the problem for independent film financiers, then we can't solve the problem for independent film creators. So we built Bingeable with very specific mechanisms that are designed to mitigate risk. Our model incentivizes lower cost of production. Our model empowers a community to become the energy behind the marketing of a film to a broad community. And then by doing that, eliminates the middlemen. And therefore, we've created a system that allows financiers to make money back from as much as 14 times the amount of gross revenue of the traditional model. And why do we do that? Why did we focus on that? Because right now, the biggest reason why independent films have such a hard time is because it's incredibly risky for financiers. The model is designed to make money off of movies that lose money. And in that context, it's very difficult for people who aren't already in the system, who aren't already completely just like whatever they want to do, they're going to get to do. But if you can create a mechanism whereby the financiers are actually taking significantly less risk by financing filmmakers, then they can take chances on filmmakers who maybe aren't already in the system. And that's ultimately the dream here is can we bring new voices? Can we make it so that the entertainment industry is not dependent upon gatekeepers, but upon creators for the first time in 100 years?
Yeah. And since, everything that is so much a part of the ethos of Film 3 is community, Bingeable is designed for the actors, the creators, the soundtrack artists, the promotional partners, the fans, everybody to participate in the promotion and selling of PVOD rentals of the films, so that there's a complete economic alignment and we're able to harness those communities, market directly to those communities, spend less on marketing, and like Steven said, risk less capital. And if we're able to risk less capital and reach profitability sooner, that means the movies that are the important independent art house or, character driven pieces that are deemed too risky, because even if you spend a little bit of money on them, you have to spend tens of millions of dollars to market. Well, we're able to lower those costs, make more movies like that, connect those with the audiences that want to see them. We think that this can be transformative.
Excellent. Appreciate that overview, you guys. Really, really amazing stuff happening at Bingeable. So what's on the horizon? What's current right now at Bingeable, and what are some things that you're working on?
Yeah. Well, we're really excited. We've got, we like I said, we've been working on this for a long time, and one of the keys to the Bingeable model is finding projects that already have a significant audience connected to them. In other words, through social media, the creators have a fan base, and we're not talking about necessarily social media influencers per se. We're talking about creators and talent who are that people know the stuff they make. They're storytellers, they're musicians, they're actors, that sort of thing. So we're looking for projects like that, and we're really excited. This summer, probably late summer into early fall, we're going to be releasing our first 2 feature films this way. Both of the films have significant, what we call social media footprint. They have talent involved that have a lot of reach, existing audiences that follow them all over the world. And we're going to be able to empower those creators to not only go directly to their fans and say, look, within a couple of clicks, you can watch my new movie. But they can also then set up their own Bingeable channel and promote it to their friends and followers online, creating what we call amplification, and that's a really critical piece. So the first 2 projects that we're releasing this summer have significant social media footprint. They're wonderful projects. They're really, really well done. So that's something we're very excited about. We're also in the process of going to be, if all goes well, we should be going into pre-production on our first fully funded, produced, marketed, and sold Bingeable original, which is a project that, I wish I could talk more about it, but it is an absolutely incredible, extremely important project that is going to include significant star power. But also it's a story that really matters. It's a story that needs to be told, and we couldn't be more excited and proud about that. So, at a high level, those are a couple of the main things that we're focusing on. But we got a lot of other, a lot of other things going on as well. Bingeable is we operate kind of as a hub and spoke model. We built these tools to empower creators, to empower producers, to empower financiers, and as such, it's around that hub, we're setting up all these spokes around the hub. We're basically creating opportunities and environments for filmmakers all over the world to take advantage of the tools that are, frankly, we've been developing for the last 15 years. I wrote the business plan for what is now Bingeable in 2007. So we've been playing around with ideas of how this could work and what we could do, knowing that there was no way to execute on that vision at the time I wrote it. But we have been going kind of methodically, piece by piece, developing the tools and resources that are at the core and the heart of Bingeable. So it's exciting to see that finally starting to come together.
Yeah, I think there's a real shift that's happening right now. I think, Steven had such tremendous vision in being able to see, and especially someone who had gone through the digital music revolution and was trying to raise alarm bells there and has been ringing the alarm bell here and, film and TV now for years, just trying to figure out what that alternative path is. How can we provide a different path for filmmakers? And it's a set of tools that has a versatility that we can utilize in a lot of different areas. And, one of those as well is a partnership with our good old friends at Decentralized Pictures called Next Wave Studios, which we're very excited about as well.
Love it. Well, some great teasers in there. I can't wait. I could ask you to give me more, like, well, can you divulge the name or something? But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to patiently wait or impatiently wait for the developments to unfold. Can't wait. So real quickly, with your follow up there, Jonathan, I've got to ask, and it's a completely silly question, and I look forward to you telling me how silly of a question it is after I ask it, but I've
Mhm.
got to. Okay, so Jonathan, whenever I Google you,
Mhm.
okay, I see, a prominent, good-looking face pop up on the screen, perfectly trimmed scruff. And then I look at your, I know I'd like to get my scruff to that point, but it's not going
Hey,
to happen. I give up. I give
yeah,
up.
you got a good. This is a very well scrubbed podcast
I
interview.
know.
Okay, so
So, so I look at your, going to your Wikipedia page, there's some nice credentials in there. You've been cast in a lot of things, and it looks like, at least on the surface, a guy that's doing really well in the film 2 world. Okay?
Mhm.
So why mess with that? Why challenge the status quo here? Why does it mean so much to you?
That's interesting. Well, we're gonna need a couple episodes, but I think there's a lot of ways to sort of come about this. Thank you for that, by the way. And yes, I've been operating in legacy Hollywood for just about 2 decades now. And with a degree of success that's allowed me to be able to keep working, which is such an amazing aspect of this stream. I think for me, something that happened around 10 years ago was a greater desire to have a more behind the scenes and overall creator involvement in the projects that I was participating in, and being able to fall into a role where I was able to develop, produce, and help bring filmmakers and projects that matter to me out in the world. And it was through that experience that I realized how troubled and damaged and gatekept and challenging the system really was. And there really, although there are certain things in place, and I started my career and I operate a tremendous amount of my time out of the Canadian film and television industry, and there are support systems in place there. However, especially when you have government funded bodies that are involved, there's bureaucracy and a whole bunch of muddied waters. And when you've got the industry that's built here, and as Stephen was saying before, where it's designed for there to just be a certain moving of money around and waiting for certain projects to break through. And we're in an era right now where the measurements are in billions of minutes watched, and hundreds of millions of minutes watched. Like these are unfathomable numbers, especially to people who are just trying to make their first film, or or try to make a series of films or sell a TV show. So I think what I really connected with was trying to find a way to champion the filmmakers that I believe in, champion the projects that I believe in, and I'm very fortunate that I've been able to work and witness the work of so many talented creators, and we have such a great community. And I've met such an amazing community through this, the Film 3 squad. And I think we're just trying to figure out a way to make work and the ability to continue working more accessible, and to have it be something that becomes more profitable for creators, which obviously will also mean more profitable for the financiers, which will be able to just exponentially increase the amount of projects like this and that we believe in that we'll be able to make.
Appreciate that, Jonathan.
No
Excellent.
problem.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit here. So let's talk about Stephen. You just returned from Cannes Film Festival. So tell us about that experience, and I'm particularly interested in the Film 3. I know that you were there with other folks that are involved with Film 3 and pushing forward this mission. And tell us about any sidebar conversations or other dialogue that you may have had with other filmmakers, and kind of what the broader understanding of Film 3 looks like at one of the largest film festivals in the world.
Yeah, man, there were so many conversations, and there's so many exciting things going on, much of which we need to kind of keep back a little bit before we get out too publicly with them, because it's all about timing, and making sure that the announcements happen at the right time. But let me talk more broadly about the kind of the energy that I felt at Cannes, and I've been before, and And this felt similar to some of the other other Cannes festivals that I've been to, but there was a pretty significant difference in that there is a very, very clear understanding that the system is broken, that the old way of doing things just simply isn't working anymore. And there was a very noticeable absence of some players that had been very, very active in the festival in years past. And I think part of that led to a lot of people, obviously you've got the WGA strike, which is certainly adding a bit of stress to everybody involved in the industry. But I think it's more the reason why the strike needed to happen is the issue that there are so many things that it's very similar to what I saw in the music business, where there's this massive shift in consumer behavior that forces it moves the consumers outside of the existing silo that the industry controls, and there's really only two options. One is to try and desperately push them back into your old silo or change. And when you're dealing with companies that are massive, just these huge multi-billion-dollar conglomerates, publicly traded companies, it's just so clear that they're stuck, that they really don't know what to do or how to fix the problem. Imagine if you are a CEO of a publicly traded company and you go to your, on your earnings call and you go to Wall Street and say, hey, you know what the biggest problem is? We're not paying talent enough, right? This is not something Wall Street wants to hear, right? That's not the message. You mean, wait a second, these razor thin margins have to be worse? So they're really stuck. There's this sense of kind of almost exasperation of like, we don't know what to do. But because Cannes is predominantly storytellers, filmmakers, and creators, and going to parties sponsored by distributors and studios, the conversations that were going on all around were all about, we have got to do something different. And that was what was so exciting about being there, planting yet another flag in the ground on this mountain that we're all trying to climb as we get to the next level, putting a flag in the ground and saying Film 3 fixes this. We can show you a different way. I've been saying for a long time that with Bingeable, the way I try to frame it is that we are a solution, not the solution. The fact is, there's a lot of ways to do this. There's Sony, there's Universal, there's MGM, there's Paramount, there's Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Amazon. There are going to be those equivalents in the Film 3 movement. And so there's lots of ways for us to do this. We have one solution that we believe in a lot, but there are many, many paths up this hill. But it was important, I felt, to be there, screaming as loudly as I can to say, look, we've got a solution. And I wound up talking to, I don't know, maybe a dozen different filmmakers, all varying levels of success. But including some who are incredibly successful, and to see their eyes light up when we say, we can give you an alternative path. We can show you another way that allows you to maintain ownership of your IP, that allows you to harness the community that you have around you to become the marketing energy behind your project so that you don't have to go through the traditional system. And if it works, if it is successful, then you can move that project through the release windows, just like everything else. You can release a movie as a premium VOD and promote it through your followers online to their friends and to their friends and their friends. You can do that, and then you can still go to Hulu and you can still go to Tubi and you can still take that project all the way down the line. But the difference being that there's not all of these middlemen in the middle who take 95% of every dollar. Now you are able to, give your financiers a significantly higher rate of return from gross revenue, $1 gross revenue, where they can recoup their costs faster from fewer sales, which means that they can break even on a movie, even if it kind of underperforms expectations. They might still break even. And if they break even, then that means they're more likely to come back and do it again, because if it just goes even just the slightest bit above break even, they're doing something that Hollywood doesn't allow them to do, which is to make money off of the projects. Hollywood is designed to make money off of movies that lose money. Who does that leave in the lurch? Financiers and talent who are supposed to get back-end revenue participation. How can you get back-end revenue participation on a project that is designed to lose money? So this alternative, I think, changes is what, the response that we got just from those conversations that we had. You could just see their eyes light up and say, there is actually another way to do this. And that's I couldn't have been more excited about that.
Yeah, and I think something, we should really spell out in terms of, how the model works is that there is $1 revenue participation for the creators and the talent and even the below the line crew that are involved in Bingeable projects. That's $1. And that share of their profit participation doubles after the costs of marketing and production are recouped plus 25%. So there's incentivization for those costs of production and everything to be lower up front so that we can get to that threshold faster. And again, this is $1 we're talking about. That is not happening anywhere else in the industry. And on top of that, when we're talking about the distributor, distribution commission and sales agent fees and all these different things that are happening with films, rather than it having be 85 to 95% that's going to those fees that the filmmakers aren't seeing, there's only 30% that's coming off the top. And 20% of that is going to whoever generated the sale, whether that's your star, your actor, your grip, your soundtrack artist, a promotional person, or somebody who just liked the movie and is a fan of the movie. 20% of that transaction goes to the person who generated it. So that's a real incentivization for your cast to promote the film, for the soundtrack artists, for people who are super fans of those talent, or people who just enjoyed the movie and want to monetize word of mouth. That's a real driving force for obviously participation for everybody. And then with every one of those transactions, that's going into the recoupment of the film and really motivates the financiers breaking even. And like Steven said, making the next one.
And I'm going to throw in one last little anecdote about Cannes. You first of all, if you want to find a financier at Cannes this year, I recommend looking off in the corner, somebody drinking their beer, just kind of like, it was crazy. I mean, like everybody's just like, there's this, it's exciting. It's, Cannes is incredible, but there was also sort of this palpable sense of kind of like, what do we do? And I'm telling you, you want to get a business card from a financier, this is how you do it. Tell them that we have a way to make it so that you can recoup your costs from 14 times the amount of gross revenue of a traditional release. Because right there, that's like then we need to know what that is, right? And that's why we keep saying we tried to solve a problem for financiers first. All of the, my mission statement, which I have up on my whiteboard in my office, I stare at it every day. It's been there for over 7 years, says that if you change the world for creators, creators can change the world. And that is something that I have believed in for a long, long time. It's something that drives me. It motivates me. But the only way we can change the world for creators is if we fix the problem for financiers. And because all the vision in the world, all the amazing stories that you ever want to tell, if you don't have the capital to do it properly, you're going to struggle to get that story into the world. And we're trying to fix that problem. And so, I walked out of there with a stack of business cards from financiers saying, we need to talk, so it, at its heart, Film 3 is about shifting that balance of power. And the thing that most people don't understand is that most movies today are actually financed independently. And so they're the ones who are kind of going, what do we do? This is not working anymore. And this interview is not long enough to get into some of the data points that they're staring at. But I mean, it's horrifying for them right now because the existing system is fundamentally broken.
Brilliant, you guys. And what I love so much is you've got the practical knowledge to explain the situation, the flaws that exist in the system, but there's also an inspiration about you too that you want to rally behind this movement. So well stated. All right, so Jonathan, let's talk about the meta version here. So I know that you participated on a talk similar to this with MetaCannes. That's I believe it still goes for a few days at the time of recording this episode. I think it goes to like the 29th of May.
The 29th, that's correct.
Yeah. So tell us about, MetaCannes and Bingeable's involvement, and what's your thoughts with executing a very innovative option to cans.
Oh, well, thank you. So I'm fortunate and blessed that I'm able to participate in the festival in multiple different facets. So on the Bingeable side, we are honored and privileged to be, a sponsor and a partner on the MetaCannes Film Festival, which for those that don't know, we have a digital film festival that's happening right now during the Cannes Film Festival. There was an IRL in real life party, an event that Stephen was throwing with Jordan Bain and Phil McKenzie, Nick Sadler, the First Flights guys, and
Yeah.
everybody in Cannes on Sunday. And but you don't have to be in Cannes to be able to see the movies in this festival. The engine for the festival is Theta, which is a layer one blockchain, and with their company Theta Drop, they're the ones who are powering the festival, and they've been amazing partners with it. So MetaCannes is a virtual film festival where it is taking place on the Squad's yacht in the metaverse. And what you do is, I'm sure we can hyperlink the link to be able to get a film pass, because the film passes are $30 USD fiat. That gets you access to multiple blocks of short films and 4 feature films. There's also a number of panels that are a part of those films, Q&As, and I was able to participate in a panel that talked about legacy Hollywood and how it relates to film 3. And those panels are actually going to be available in perpetuity for those that pick up those film passes. So if you pick up a film pass and you see some of the films, but you don't get to watch all the panels and things that you want to see, fear not, because those will be up there for forever. And the way it works is, once you get your film pass, you go into On Cyber, which is where the yacht is, and you're able to watch all the films on demand on the Film 3 yacht in On Cyber. And as Steven said, the goal was really about planting a flag and to have this festival happening at the same time as Cannes. And in addition to being, on one of the panels and to being, part of the Bingeable team, I also am one of the producers of a film that's in the festival. It's a film called Acquainted, and something that I'm so excited that we will be releasing later this year on Bingeable. And this is an amazing, beautiful, special film that's so close to my heart. We have an unbelievable cast with a massive social media footprint, like Stephen was talking about. But due to the current systems that are in place, we've had a real hard time getting this film to that community and to that audience. We know we have massive fan bases in France and Italy and Brazil, and they literally are asking us when they can see this movie, and we haven't been able to get it to them. Well, I'm very excited to say that it's coming. Obviously you can see the film as part of the MetaCannes Film Festival on top of a whole host of other amazing films, including the Oscar-winning An Irish Goodbye, which is Nick Sadler and Phil McKenzie First Flights, Oscar-winning short film from just this past Oscars. And so this is an amazing lineup of films that we have. And Acquainted, as a producer, that we're so honored to be able to be a part of this. And there's a lot of amazing panels. My dad's on one of the panels. He's on the distribution panel as well. Stephen, I think you're on one of the panels as well. And there's a lot of really great insight. And I think what you touched on earlier, and Stephen and I definitely try to emulate this, and I think it's something that's actually very much a part of the the movement. We can identify these problems and we can talk about issues that we're facing, but this movement is about the excitement that we all feel to be able to take this on together and to expand and to build and to grow this community. And I think that undoubtedly the MetaCannes Film Festival and the IRL stuff that was happening at Cannes was a massive success. There's a lot of press that we've been able to get, and I think that there's a real appetite. And so, hopefully people enjoy the films and we can continue growing this movement.
And I want to add one last thing, Matt, if I could, about that. First of all, and I don't want to give away too much, but I don't think anyone should assume that this is the only time this is going to happen. I think there are lots of very exciting opportunities that you're going to be hearing about soon, where we can highlight and feature even more films.
Yes.
What Theta is doing that I think is so important. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand maybe the significance of what Theta is doing as it relates to this film festival. But there's a reason why all of us are so enthusiastic about this and so excited about this, and why, Bingeable and Decentralized Pictures and all of us wanted to be a part of this, is because they are solving a very, very significant problem. It is one thing to stream on blockchain. It is another thing to have digital rights management on blockchain, because if you want any major project to be released via blockchain streaming, if you don't have digital rights management that is also part of that equation, you're going to have a really hard time getting high profile projects to be released that way. And they've cracked that code, which is really exciting. It was, it's an extraordinarily complex thing. It is not easy to do, and the fact that they pulled it off with only a few hiccups at the beginning is pretty impressive. But I think this is just another one of those moments. This is a milestone, right? And I think it's important to point out there are two groups involved in the MetaCannes Film Festival that are inherently Film 3, that are at the heart and the center of Film 3, and that is Goldfinch and Decentralized Pictures. And both of them, the first projects that they financed using this Film 3 ethos, one has made it into Tribeca. The other one won an Academy Award this year. Nobody can say that Film 3 isn't a real thing, right? I mean, this is huge. We are coming out. I mean, like this is starting to make noise. It's starting to get attention, and it's coming from the creators first. And that's just absolutely epic.
It's coming. It's coming. Get on board.
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks so much, you guys. Well, I could talk to you guys for hours, but I just want to thank you for joining the DCP Talent Cast and all the exciting things. I know big things are happening at Bingeable right now, so congratulations to both of you. Be sure and follow Stephen and Jonathan to stay current on all that on social media. And at Decentralized Pictures, please join the platform, become a reviewer, participate, submit proposals if you're a filmmaker. Decentralized.pictures just had some new updates to the platform, so be sure and check those out. Have some exciting awards live on the website right now. Roman Coppola's That Film I Made, Andrews Bernard Award, supported by Steven Soderbergh for finishing film funds, and the iPhone Filmmaking Initiative. So be sure and check us out. Guys, thanks so much. This was a treat.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Okay, we'll see you around.
Yeah.
Peace.